Have you ever wondered where fantasy creatures come from? You know, the ones that roam enchanted forests or dive into dark oceans. They're wild, they're magical, and they captivate our imaginations. But what if I told you that many of these fantastical creatures have real-world inspirations? That's right. Some of the most iconic fantasy monsters were inspired by animals we see every day. Imagine the majestic dragon, a creature of myth and legend. You might think it's a product of pure imagination. But did you know that dragons were inspired by one of the most feared real animals in history? Think about the terrifying chimera, a beast with the body of a lion and the head of a goat. It's no coincidence that its design has roots in real-world creatures. What if the monsters we fear aren't just make-believe? What if they're a fusion of the known and the unknown? What if a mythical creature like the griffin is rooted in an animal that existed millions of years ago? Picture this: a fierce eagle, a cunning lion. Could they have been the blueprint? Every culture has its own version of mythical beasts, creatures that transcend time. But there's something magical about knowing these legends aren't born from thin air. Some of these fantastical beasts were actually based on the oddest, real animals that once walked our Earth. Imagine how the world of fantasy would change if we knew the truth. The line between fiction and reality is far blurrier than we think. Could creatures like mermaids or unicorns really have had a basis in reality? It's a thrilling thought. What if they weren't just stories? And it turns out that many of the creatures we love weren't just imagined. They were inspired by nature itself. Take the majestic phoenix, for instance. Could it be inspired by something much more ordinary? If we start digging into the stories behind these beings, we might uncover secrets lost to time. These aren't just tall tales. They're reflections of the animal kingdom in all its glory and terror. Let's look beyond the fairy tales and dive into the hidden stories of how these creatures came to be. You'll never look at dragons, griffins, or even mermaids the same way again. Behind every legend lies a fascinating creature from the real world. And the truth is often more captivating than the myth itself. So, buckle up, because we're about to explore the surprising, real creatures that inspired some of the most legendary beasts. Prepare yourself to be amazed by the bizarre animals that gave birth to fantasy. From ancient times to today, these real-world creatures have left their mark on stories and legends. They may look like pure fantasy to us, but they were born from nature's wonder. Stick with me as we journey into the unexpected realm where fantasy and reality collide. It's time to reveal the creatures that bridge the gap between the imagined and the real. What secrets do these mythical beasts hold? And how do they connect to animals in our own world? It's a story you won't want to miss, one that will change the way you see fantasy forever. So, let's dive into the origins of these magical beasts. The first one might just blow your mind. It's a creature of fire and destruction. Ready to discover which real animal ignited the flames of the mythical dragon? Or how about the gigantic, powerful creature with the head of a lion? Let's get started and explore the hidden world of fantasy creatures. Who knows, you might just discover a beast that exists today in the real world. Are you ready to uncover the truth behind these legendary creatures? Let's embark on this journey where fantasy and reality collide in the most fascinating ways. Now, let's begin with the mighty dragon. Dragons have been feared and revered across cultures for centuries, from the fire-breathing beasts in the east to the fierce winged creatures in the west. But what inspired such a terrifying creature? The answer might lie in a very real animal, the crocodile. Ancient people living near rivers and swamps would have encountered these massive reptiles. Their large, scaly bodies and intimidating jaws made them perfect candidates for dragon myths. Imagine facing one of these creatures, and you can understand why people might think it could breathe fire. But there's more to the dragon's origins. Look at the Komodo dragon, an enormous lizard that still roams parts of Indonesia today. With its ferocious bite and lizard-like appearance, it's easy to see how this creature could spark stories of fire-breathing dragons. These reptiles are the real-life ancestors of the dragons that loom in our imaginations. But not all creatures of myth come from terrifying predators. Some, like the unicorn, have a far gentler connection to the real world. Legends of the unicorn have persisted for centuries, capturing the hearts of those who hear the story. But where did it come from? It turns out that the unicorn could have been inspired by a very real animal, the oryx. This antelope, native to Africa and the Arabian Peninsula, has two long, straight horns. When seen from a distance, the oryx's horns appear to be one, giving it the illusion of a single spiraled horn. Early explorers and travelers might have confused these creatures with something more magical. The oryx, with its majestic horns and graceful appearance, might have sparked the myth of the unicorn. But what about the fearsome chimera? The chimera, a creature with the head of a lion, the body of a goat, and the tail of a serpent, has puzzled historians for years. Where could such a bizarre beast have come from? As strange as it sounds, the chimera may have been inspired by real animals that once roamed the earth. Consider the now extinct Indracotherium, a massive herbivore that resembled a rhinoceros. Standing nearly 18 feet tall, its size and appearance could have been the foundation for tales of terrifying beasts. Combine that with the imagery of a serpent's tail, and you have the makings of the mythological chimera. The chimera's multifaceted design was probably a result of nature's creatures blending together in the minds of ancient storytellers. But let's not stop there. There's also the griffin. The griffin, with the body of a lion and the head and wings of an eagle, has long been a symbol of power and protection. But did you know that it may have been inspired by the real-world creatures like the golden eagle and the Asiatic lion? These animals, both fierce and majestic, could have merged in ancient stories to create the awe-inspiring griffin. As humans encountered the powerful eagle and the mighty lion, their stories combined to form a creature that was greater than the sum of its parts. But these are just a few examples of fantasy creatures that were born from the real world. There are more creatures whose roots lie in the world around us, waiting to be discovered. Think about the mermaid, a creature that has captivated sailors and dreamers for centuries. The mermaid's long flowing hair, beautiful face, and the tail of a fish are the stuff of legends. But what if the mermaid was inspired by the manatee, a gentle marine mammal often mistaken for a fish? Sailors who first saw manatees might have been dazzled by their smooth, human-like appearance above the waterline. Their tails, which resemble the mermaid's fishtail, could have further fueled the myths. But it doesn't stop with the mermaid. What about the phoenix, an iconic bird that is said to rise from the ashes? Could the mythical phoenix be rooted in real creatures like the flamingo or the peacock? Both of these birds, with their stunning colors and majestic presence, could easily have inspired the phoenix legend.